It's big, it's back, and it's bonkers. It's Gasbbuteo League. Yes, hello and welcome back to Gasbbuteo Tabletop Football, where this is the first video of Gasbbuteo League 2025, where we're going to determine who's in and who you get to choose to take the places that I don't choose. Shall we get on with it? Okay, so laid out in front of you, we have all the available teams who could play in Gasbbuteo League. Now let's start off with a few sort of deciding rules of what's going on. Rules that are starting to come into play because this is the third season of Gasbbuteo League. Now last year's winners were Chigwell Town. Their name is quite literally on the trophy. There it is, Chigwell Town 2024. And in 2023, of course, we had Mangotsfield United. Now, I've been mulling this over and I've been thinking, should previous winners of Gasbbuteo League, be automatically allowed into the following year's league? Now, I think that's certainly the case for last year's winner, but for ongoing, I mean, we could get to a point where if I did this for 10 years, then no new teams would be able to get in. So, unfortunately, I think the rule we're going to have to employ there is only the previous cup final teams, whether they won that game or not, can automatically go get a qualification place in the following Gasbbuteo League. So what that means is that Chigwell Town, obviously, they won the trophy last year. They automatically go into Gasbbuteo League 2025. Also, a team that were in the cup final but didn't win it, Bristol Rovers, they will go through as well. Now, this leads us on to a little bit of an issue that we've got. Previously, I said there is a rule that because this is Gasbbuteo and because I'm a Bristol Rovers fan, the Gasbbuteo team and Bristol Rovers always automatically go through because, you know, this is sort of their home. It's kind of their tournament. They should always go through. So normally they would be in these two spots here as automatic involvers in the, or automatic teams in the tournament. Now, because Rovers have already qualified they got in the cup final, so they're through. That leaves one space. And also, we've got a bit of an issue with Gasbbuteo. And for that, let's move over to Loser's Corner. Okay, so over here we have last year's and 2023's losers. So Bristol City versus Gasbbuteo were in the Wooden Spoon Trophy, and in 2023 that game was played by Dundee United and Spirit of Subbuteo. Now the rule here is that if you are in that game, whatever happens, you cannot play in the next year's tournament. So in 2024, Bristol City were in the Wooden Spoon game, but they didn't win the Wooden Spoon. Nonetheless, it was relegation, so they can't play this year. City fans, don't start crying. That's just the way tournaments work. And don't worry, they may have a chance of coming back next year. It's only 1 year they're missing, much like Dundee United did in 2024, because they were in the tournament in the Wooden Spoon game for 2023. However, their 1 year of relegation has now expired, so they have a chance of getting back in. So let's move Bristol City out of the way, and let's talk about the real losers. Now, if you win the Wooden Spoon, because they want new teams to sort of trickle through and we don't keep having the same teams play in the tournament, which would get a bit stale, what I've said is if you win the Wooden Spoon, you can never play in Gasbbuteo League again. So that means Spirit of Subbuteo won the 2023 Wooden Spoon. They're out forever. They can never play again. And also, rather unfortunately for Gasbbuteo Tabletop Football, the Gasbbuteo team won the Wooden Spoon in 2024. So they can never play in Gasbbuteo League ever again. So those two teams are out, and it will be the same for whoever is the Wooden Spoon winner in 2025. Now, of course, that does mean that the two spots that are normally taken up, automatic qualification spots taken up by Bristol Rovers and Gasbbuteo, are both empty. Rovers have gone through because they were in the cup final. Gasbbuteo can never play in the tournament again because they won the Wooden Spoon. So that, of course, means that the two automatic Bristol Rovers related spots are empty. And I've come up with a unique solution to solve that issue. And that is those two slots are going to be filled by mystery teams. Now, what I mean by that is there will be teams there, but they are two teams that are currently not in this room. I'm not going to tell you what they are. I'm not going to tell you where they come from. I'm not even going to tell you what they are when the fixture list is set out. The first time you're going to find out which or what those two teams are, we'll just call them Mystery Team 1 and Mystery Team 2, is when they play their first matches. That's when you, the viewer, will find out who they are. So Mystery Team 1 and 2 are going to take up those slots. Now, nipping back to automatic teams that go through. Last year we played with Bristol Rovers on these nice dome bases, and I do have a bit of a sort of, I suppose it's becoming a tradition that I change the Bristol Rovers team every year. So we're not going to play with those ones this year. The first year we played with bucket base Bristol Rovers. Last year it was these lovely, my favourite sort of figures. They're like a heavyweight replica. So we're putting them away. And the Bristol Rovers we're going to play with, which I don't know, might not work out, is a kind of lightweight figure painted in last year's kit. So, I mean, last year was a terrible season for Bristol Rovers, let's be honest, in real life. Can they do better in that kit in 2025 playing as the Bristol Rovers automatic promotion team? Well, we're going to find out, because that's who's going to be playing for Bristol Rovers. Now, let's move Dundee United out of the way, because we haven't chose those yet, and they may not get chosen. But what we're going to move on to now is what's known as Gem's Choice. You may think the mystery teams are Gem's Choice. Just deal with it. Now, Gem's Choice is two teams that I want to see in there that aren't either Bristol Rovers or Gasbbuteo, who will never play in it again. They're also not one of the mystery teams. Now, I sort of deliberated about this, but let's be honest, I don't think you'll be surprised at this. There's two teams here that I do invest quite a lot of money in, and I don't just mean in Gasbbuteo sense, I mean going to see them in real life. And they are, of course, Bohemian FC, so they're going to be one of Gem's Choice. And, of course, perhaps fairly predictable, the Raytons. Both those teams, I feel, could have done better last year. Maybe this will be their time to shine. So far, we've got Chigwell Town, Bristol Rovers, Mystery Team 1, Mystery Team 2, the Bows, and again, the Raytons. And that leaves, of course, 4 spots, which is exactly where you, the Gasbbuteo viewer, comes into this. Last year, I left that open to a public vote to decide which teams out of the remaining teams available are going to fill those spots. And we're going to do the same again this year. So I'm going to put a poll on the Gasbbuteo Facebook group, and if you want to vote for a particular team, you can do that. I'm not going to list all the teams on there this time. What I'm going to do is just perhaps put a couple of them on there. I may change my mind and put them all on there. I don't know, we'll just have to see. But basically, if you see one of the teams on here that you want to appear in Gasbbuteo League, put it into the poll, and if people vote for it, then the ones that get the maximum votes will go through to Gasbbuteo League qualification. Now, you will have seen all these teams before, but we're going to go through them one at a time. And if you want to vote for them, then get on the Gasbbuteo Facebook group. So first off, Real Madrid, winners of the recent Lagoa Trophy, and we've got to go and visit them sometime. Then we've got, who's that? Crystal Palace. Don't think they've ever been in Gasbbuteo League. Dunfermline, Feyenoord, Everton, we also saw them in the Lagoa Trophy. Scotland national side, you never know. Brazil. And then should we go along the bottom and then along the middle? Liverpool, England. Does anyone want to see England? Them figures are awful, by the way. They'll never win. Dundee United back in the frame. We got Pro Vercelli. Then we've got fake Porto, which are actually a Norwich, badly repainted. Stoke City. And then down here in this box here, I know it's a bit of a muddle, but you've got the Janners, Plymouth, Argyle, Leeds, and then there's an Aberdeen in there as well. There is some, if you can spot them, there is some Man United's green and yellow ones in there, but not enough to make up a team. Then we got up here Casale. They'd be interesting, nice figures. Sparta Rotterdam. Le Havre, that would be interesting. That is Norwich, of course, in yellow and green. Nice little heavyweights there. Rangers. Over here we've got the Nag's Head from Only Fools and Horses. Favourites last year's Gasbbuteo League, St. Pauli. Mangersfield, 2023 winners of Gasbbuteo League. Do you want to see them back? Better get voting for them if you do. Borussia Mönchengladbach. And then over here, we've got Arsenal in a couple of forms. We had the Arsenal Dream Team last year, but if they get selected, it will be the lightweight figures playing. And this is a team which are also being deselected. That's Willem 2. I'm actually going to give them to Steve Toy next time I see him. So those are the teams that you can choose from. If you want to vote for any of them teams to be in Gasbbuteo League 2025, then get over to that Facebook group, get on the poll, put their team name in there, and we'll see who gets the votes. If we don't get any votes or no one nominates them, I'll just select some teams. It will probably be ones that haven't appeared before. We'll just have to see how we get on. So, not a great deal of messing about this time because I want to get on with it. So I'm going to put that vote on there and I'm going to leave it up there for a couple of weeks. And it will probably be sometime round about mid-June. I'll take that down. We'll get the fixtures up and then we can start it from the end of June. And then we can really crack on because we've got 45 matches in it. And Bristol Rovers have got to win that trophy. They've been trying for 2 years, so hopefully they can do it in last year's kit. Also, I'd quite like to see some of the other teams do well as well. Or perhaps maybe Chigwell Town are going to come back and do the double. Are they going to win it 2 years in a row? And of course, we've got the mystery teams. So until next time, get voting, get your favourite teams in there, and up the gas!